What's up, Brooks?
The sky, Baron, and the ceiling. What's up with you?
The same.
That was maybe the worst opening we could have had right there. That was pretty bad by us.
Yeah, so let's try that again. How are you, Brooks?
I'm good. How about you, man?
I'm doing good, life's going along, same old, same old. You got some pretty exciting stuff coming up though.
I do. I do. I'm covering the World Cup. I'm flying to Mexico tomorrow.
Ooh.
Tomorrow,
Um,
B Dub.
yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up at the end of the episode, but for now, we've got some college football stuff for you, some scandalous things going on over there. And of course, the NFL doesn't sleep. It's year round. So there's stuff for us to talk about on that front as
Of
well.
course.
So we've got a lot to get into today. But first, let's jump right into it.
Welcome to the greatest podcast on earth. Nothing agreed. We have a great show for you tonight, so stay tuned and buckle up.
Love me. What is up? It's another episode of Nothing Agreed. Nothing agreed. How are
Wow.
you doing, Baron?
I'm doing better now. I got to hear
Did I
that.
just like wash you up right there? The voice of an angel right there.
Yeah, it was something. That's for
That
sure.
was what? It was something as crazy. How are you doing, Baron? Other than
I'm
being
good.
good,
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I need an exciting fact in your life. Boom, go
Exciting
on the spot.
fact in my life. We'll get back to that.
Oh,
Um,
nothing exciting in his life. All
nothing. Yeah,
right, all right.
nothing really crazy is going on.
I could say a couple things, but
Oh, okay. Well, it's okay. We're not gonna get too personal in today's episode.
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you've got big things coming up. How's your summer been going?
It's good. It's been, I want to say, fast and slow at the same time, just because our kids our age, it's internships, it's jobs, whatever. But since I'm going for 3.5 weeks away, that is kind of my internship, but I really don't have anything else lined up because nobody's gonna hire you if you can only work like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of chilling, working on preparing for that, and then big day tomorrow. Big
Yeah.
day tomorrow, man.
Yeah, big flight day, travel day. Stay safe going down across the border.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Lots of things that could go wrong, but I'm praying for your safety and good
Thanks.
times. Good times. I mean, I was listening to the. I'm not gonna get too like political with it, but I was listening to the news the other day, and they were just talking about how Mexican government's like preparing for that and like hiding up, like they're trying to hide all like the gang violence and cartel stuff for like tourists to like feel safe and stuff. So it's just out there. Again, that's about as political as it's gonna get. So yeah, just stay safe. We'll be praying for you
Mm-hmm.
and hope
Will
you have a
do.
good time. Yeah,
I
but
will.
we've got some college football stuff to talk about first. And I think you are probably a little more knowledgeable in that
Oh,
scandal than
okay.
I am. So I'll let you kind of take the reins and break down what's going on, and
I
I'll give
don't
some
know if we
input.
need to break down what's going on other than, I mean, I guess I can give like a good little 3 sentence kind of synopsis. But Brent Sorsby, who is the quarterback now for Texas Tech, he has had a couple of teams he's been on, and this scandal happens when I think he was on Indiana, if I'm not mistaken, and he bet on his team in games, gambling. You know how it goes, Baron. And I think it was, a good amount of money as well. I can't remember the exact number, but it was a good amount of money. And he was suspended. He was, not allowed to play, cut case, even though Texas Tech kind of already paid for the contract, whatever. And then there was an injunction that came out, I think 2 days ago, yesterday or 2 days ago, where time just kind of wraps into itself right now. But he is
Fair
now
enough.
allowed to play this upcoming season, kind of like how Trinidad Chambliss had an injunction and he got ruled by a court that he could play and he can play for a 6 year now. He's going to miss the first 2 games for Texas Tech, but he's going to play after that. And Baron, I don't want to say this is a decision that affects just Sorsby and Texas Tech in this upcoming season. There has been a lot of dominoes that have been falling, including the school I go to at the University of Georgia. If you may or may not have heard of that, but 2 games for Sorsby, but even after the gambling kind of incident, he's allowed to play. Baron Burns, usually we'll start with my opinion, but let's start with yours. What is your thought on this kind of whole ideal arrangement that have now come together and had its decision?
Well, for anyone that frequently follows us and listens to us on the regular knows that I'm no fan of what college sports has turned into, and this definitely just makes it worse in my eyes. Because obviously you have a player who did something wrong, right? Like, let's not sit here and say that what he did was there's some ethical question behind it. There's none. He's placing money on his team, and granted, he might not have had an outcome of how that game went, and he couldn't have affected the way that bet would have gone, but he definitely will have some insider knowledge, some information that might influence a regular person to make a decision if they had that knowledge. So it's not good. It's not right. It's wrong. I know how you feel about gambling. You know how I feel about gambling. Obviously, this is more in the case of regulation, and just it doesn't need to be in sports. Like I'm I'm one of those people that I think it's fine if you're a football player and you want to place a basketball bet. But like still, I don't think it's totally all right. But yeah, I mean, it's just not a good look, right? Because obviously you have a player who did something wrong, and let's take a step away from the gambling for a second. You have a player who did something wrong, and like you said, he should be suspended. He should not play this season. That's the league rule, and it happened. They said you're not coming here. You're done. Like, or you can come here, but you're done. You're not playing this year. You might be able to play next year, but you're not playing this season. Like, that's your punishment. And I think a very important thing you said that not a lot of people talk about is Texas Tech already inked a contract. They paid him a lot of money to come here. I forget where he transferred from, but he did Cincinnati, right? But he did just transfer over to Texas Tech. They paid him a lot of money to come play for him. They think he's going to be the next quarterback. Had some NFL looks. We'll see if that still holds up. But yeah, he was projected to be one of the nation's best quarterbacks this year, or at least up there in the top 10. So warrants a big contract. So I think that's also a big reason why this verdict went the way it was. Obviously, or another key piece of information was this was a Texas judge who ruled this. So I'm not going to say that he's a Texas Tech fan or something like that, but that definitely doesn't make the situation better because it's a home court ruling. You could probably assume that the University of Texas Tech probably had some influence on that decision. I would too if I had put millions of dollars into this one player and now he can't play. So yeah, it's not a good look for the university. It's not a good look for the sport. It's just not a good look for the league overall. That is the NCAA football. So what have teams been doing in response? You mentioned it with Georgia. They're scrambling. They're trying to scratch Texas Tech from all competitive matches, not just in football, but in any sport. And I think that's the appropriate response, to be honest. You shouldn't be allowed to kind of get away with this. That's how it feels because, yeah, you had a player who did something really bad, really wrong, and basically gets off scot-free because let's not sit here and kid ourselves. That 2-game suspension will do nothing to Texas Tech. They're probably playing an FCS team week 1 and a really bad team week 2, and then their schedule will pick up week 3. So you're really not punishing the team. You're not really punishing him. And, yeah, it's just a bad look overall.
I find it interesting. The most important thing to me is, first of all, to me, the only little bit of leniency I have towards Sorsby is that this is when he was very young, and now he's gone through, I think, years beyond it, and it's tough sometimes to hang your head on something you did years before. But honestly, to me, this was a straight violation of the rules.
Yep.
A straight violation. It wasn't like there was a gray. It was a straight violation, and then somehow he's good. It's a straight violation, and you're good. So what does that say to somebody who commits a violation straightforward and, they can't get out of it? Hey, Sorsby did this, which is a straight violation. He got out of it. It just makes no sense. If you break the law, you get, or the rules, whatever you want to say, you have to face the punishment. He should face the punishment. I think it's a horrible decision for college football. I don't really have an opinion on Georgia. There was one other school, maybe in Penn State, or one other school.
I thought it was Nebraska, but I could
Nebraska, where it was like, hey, we're not going to schedule Texas Tech at all. And honestly, if that's the route they want to go, I don't mind that route. I know I am a Georgia fan, but I don't mind that route whatsoever because this is a broken rule. I mean, this was a straight shot. I think with Trinidad Chambliss, there's heavy. I don't think he should have got an extra year, but I think there was gray area enough to where, hey, even though I don't think he's got an extra year, he did get an extra year, and I'm like, all right, I understand it because there's a little bit of evidence as why he should. There's no reason Sorsby should be getting off. I don't want to say scot free, but 2 game suspension. Like,
Yeah.
it's horrible for the sport, and I think once again, Baron, we talked about this 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and you've really come strong with this opinion this past season of college football is really turning into a different game than what we loved it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is another stepping stone decision of college football turning a leaf, which I think we both don't like.
Mm-mm. I know it's to me, and I know this is a big talking point. People don't really like it, but to me, this kind of just furthers my point. This league needs to be professionalized.
Mm-hmm.
We need to look at college football, accept what it is today, and be like, it's not a college sport. There's too much money involved. There's too much switching around. There's too much. There's too much for college ads to handle. I think the biggest problem with this is the fact that the United States judge, a federal judge, comes down and makes this ruling instead of an NCAA elective, an official, because it's not a professionalized league. And I look at that as kind of a problem because let's say this happens in the NFL. Players getting suspended for a year. You're not fighting that. There's not a lot of legal room to really fight that. You signed a contract. You're playing in this league. They've set the rules. You broke the rules, and here's their punishment. You can take it up with the league officials, but kind of like the college football officials, their opinion didn't change. If you ask anyone who ruled in this that's in the college football office, they probably still want him gone for the season. But the fact that the federal judge has power to be like, sorry, he's going to play, that's horseshit in my opinion. So yeah, I think this kind of just furthers that argument that I've been making is this league needs to be professionalized. And I kind of want to take a second to kind of explain how that would look because I have this conversation with a lot of people and they're like, that just wouldn't work. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it'd be tough. I mean, but schools, I think, like you would see 2 different levels of college football. We'd have club football, which I think would kind of get back to what college football has been and is good. To watch and enjoy, and is a good way for maybe not as great players to still go get a good college experience and maybe get noticed by some younger scouts. But then you have people that, hey, I am 18 coming out of high school. You don't even have to go to college, but you can go sign a contract with, say, Tennessee and play there for 3 years before you're eligible to go to the NFL. And, yeah, I mean, you don't have to go to college, but, like, I think it also would work if you, like, said, I want to go to school in Georgia, but I'm going to take classes in Georgia. I'm going to get my degree there in Georgia, but I'm going to sign a contract and play for Penn State. That's the football team, or that's the team that's offering me money, that wants me to come play for them. So I think that's going to create a lot of problems. I think it would make things uncomfortable, but I think that's just where we need to go. Obviously, I think there's a college football legal committee being led by Nick Saban trying to put a can on this can of worms that's been or a lid on this can of worms that's been opened, but I kind of don't think you really can. I think there's too much money involved. There's too many connections involved. I mean, I feel like we've kind of already seen that with this ruling. How, again, I'm not saying that that's what happened, but it's really hard for me not to believe that Texas Tech had no influence on this judge's ruling, especially when the judge resides and rules in Texas. If this was a judge up in Oregon making this decision, okay, I'd still have questions, but I wouldn't be in my mind that Texas Tech had a lot of influence over that. That's just something you can't really escape when it comes to the average person. So, yeah, I think this kind of just furthers the need for professionalization. I mean, you look at the Trinidad Chambliss situation and his looking for years of eligibility. I don't think we'd have that problem in college football. If it was a professionalized sport, you kind of give players a 4-year, 5-year limit based on injuries, but yeah, you look at the tampering allegations going on with Clemson and Ole Miss. There's just so many things that are unregulated and going wild in college football, and like you said, it's not what we grew up watching. It's not what we fell in love with, and I mean, yeah, I don't look forward to college football really much anymore. I'm gonna watch my team play. I've been saying that, but like, it's just hard to get excited for a league where you don't think that it's legit anymore. And I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I was gonna just jump off that point and say, like, basically, I mean, I can speak for a couple leagues. We can talk about the NFL and maybe a controversial one, but Deflategate, right? We can talk about the Falcons pumping in crowd noise. I mean, there's been punishments for cheating, for
Well, I
doing
think
stuff to get an unfair advantage.
yeah, and there's another great example. We'll keep it with the Falcons. Calvin Ridley, he got caught
Yeah.
gambling. It wasn't even on the Falcons, I don't think, but he was gambling against league rules. He got suspended for a whole year. And I know we all know the memes where it's like, oh, NFL sees a player gambling, you're out for the year. Player hits his wife, he's out for 6 games. But like, there's clear cut punishments for when you break the rules of the NFL. There's no appealing. There's no going to a federal judge and being like, get me out of jail. Like, you break the rules, there's consequences, and you have to face the consequences of your actions. So yeah, I mean, like you said, I think this only kind of just encourages players to kind of break the rules because they can sit there and say, well, Brendan Sorsby got away with it. Why can't I?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the argument will come up, well, he's probably making $10 million and you're worth 3. But at the same time, like, why? So that all that's saying is that he makes more money, so he's allowed to break the rules. We're not setting good precedents for what college football is heading towards. And to me, I'm probably not going to be watching it in 5 years just because it's just going to be unwatchable at that point. But yeah, something needs to change quick and fast because I don't like the direction it's going in at all. And that's not really just for college football. I think it's kind of like that for most sports. I just think college football gets the most attention because that's where most of the money is.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how, honestly, just broken college football is right now. It's really bad. It's really horrible. And I was just going to continue with my point with soccer, right? I mean, Baron, you're not a big soccer guy. I'll give you a little bit of a story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what promotion and relegation is in soccer, correct?
Yes, from different leagues.
Correct. And so in the second league of England, a team, I don't want to say names because I don't want to get remember, but a team got caught kind of doing the Bill Belichick watching their practice.
Yeah.
And they beat that team. And then it's a tournament style. So they went to the final. And that game, if they won it, they went to the first tier of England, which they would have won £200 million. To put that into US dollars, it's probably a quarter or a third billion, maybe. Probably like $300 million. And they found out they had Evans cheating, and they sent the team that lost to the final and then suspended, or like they kicked the team out that won and then deducted them points. They fined them, did this whole thing. The team that actually got cheated on and went to the final actually lost anyways. So that's pretty funny. But they had a whole system to punish them, So there's systems of punishing in almost every single league. College football, you want to talk about if it's a league or not, whatever, but it doesn't really feel like there's a system of punishment in the league.
No.
There's no like go-to, and there's no precedence, We can talk about as well, like, I mean, I know this is crazy, but Supreme Court, right? A lot of them, sometimes they rule on precedents of decisions.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like precedents of decisions are not being used, and it's just, hey, we're going to make something up. Trinidad Chambliss, you're going to talk about Sorsby. Trinidad Chambliss was rejected, and then Mississippi court approved, and that approves for the whole thing. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Makes no sense to me. I think college football is broken. I mean, it is completely broken.
Yeah, and I kind of want to give a quick shout out to college basketball while we're on this topic, because they kind of put a lid on the whole NBA going back, or players going back to college basketball. I think they put a lid on that really quickly and pretty effectively. And yeah, I mean, I feel like we'd be sitting here having conversations about that too if that was allowed to continue, because that would completely break that sport as well. So I do want to give the NCAA some credit where it's due, obviously. We'll get to your face there in a second, but I think that that whole predicament was handled really well, and I wish we could see some leadership and some action from college football officials. But the fact that I feel like that we haven't, and I'm gonna go back to shitting on the NCAA here real quick, but you look at the fact that they were able to handle that in basketball and how they're not really doing anything about that in football, kind of tells me they don't want anything to change because there's so much money being made for them. So it all goes back to money. That's the root cause of all evil. So we'll address Brooks's look of excitement, being nervousness, whatever that face was. But I'll hand it back to you.
It's nothing that deals with me, just breaking NFL news. And that is Patrick Mahomes has extended his contract, and the Chiefs have agreed to 2 more years on top of his 10-year, $450 million deal. That now is $504.75 million in total, which is the first ever $500 million contract in NFL history. And he can make up to $522.5 million. He now makes $64 million a year, so that's a new NFL record on AAV. And Mahomes is now tied down till 2033. Ooh.
Wow.
I mean, it's not really big of a change because he still had, 5 more years on his deal. He gets 2 more, but first ever $500 million contract. I thought it was cool when I saw it. I was like, whoa, I didn't expect that. So, yeah, sorry to make a face. I was trying to read some NFL news and continue
Nah, you're good.
on.
We'll kind of swing on over to the NFL now. I don't really want to keep talking about college football because it makes me angry. But, yeah, I mean, worth it. I mean, he's won what? 4 Super Bowls? 3? I'm pretty sure it's 4. I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Yeah.
3? Okay.
He's won 3. Had a chance to win 4. Actually, he's had a chance to win 5. But yeah, I said it. If you follow our shorts, our Instagram, our TikTok, that we've been putting some content out there. I think he's the second best player we've seen, or the best player we've seen since Tom Brady. Well deserved. Yeah, I think he's gonna have a good season. So yeah, shout out to him.
Honestly, I mean, I think he deserves that contract. He has the keys to the city, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's what it is. You give him more money, it's a good deal.
Right.
Although I don't know, I couldn't tell you Mahomes' age off the top of it. Maybe he's like 31 now. So we'll see how he kind of adjusts because I don't want to say he's an Aaron Rodgers-esque, but a broken play for him can be a big thing. We'll see how much of a pocket passer he becomes when it's 2031, 2032, going into that near end of the deal. So yeah, and coming off a torn ACL as well.
Yeah. They must like what the doctors have told them. Again, super talented player, one of the greats we've ever seen, very well deserving.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll kind of segue that into our NFL topics for the day, starting with Brooks kind of teased this last episode, but we have some bold predictions for you.
Baron, I have put down a couple bold predictions, and I don't want to say it after the first topic we talked about. But in order to do my help, I had to look at betting markets. I'm sorry. But
it's okay. You're not playing for anyone. Go for it.
I'm not playing for anyone. I wanted to see who
the
underdogs were. I wanted to see who kind of, I don't want to say a chip on the shoulder, but maybe has a little bit of undervalue. So, Baron, I'm going to give you a couple, even without the betting odds, these are bold takes, but I used the betting odds to make sure they were bold takes for this upcoming season. First of all, Baron, I have Cam Ward throwing 3,500 passing yards, and that is at plus 140. He's actually on one of the lower tier of quarterbacks. I think he's like maybe in 21 or 22 in the order to actually throw for 3,500 in terms of betting odds.
Gotcha.
But I have Cam Ward through 3,100 last year, throwing 3,500 at plus 140. You get a new receiver coming in. You get Wan'Dale Robinson as well, who I think is underrated. And a big thing for me, which you can talk about how much a big deal it is, and maybe that kind of helped the Titans, but they really invested in this team. Defensive line, offensive line, linebackers, giving a little bit more core around the Titans so that Cam Ward is, not really running around for his life on 2nd and 17 after he got sacked the first time, and then they do a draw play on 3rd down. They're actually playing to win football games instead of just developing them, and he has a better receiving core. Give me Cam Ward 3,500 passing yards. I think he makes a big year 2 stretch. I think he does the opposite of CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I definitely think the Titans are going to take a next step this year. I made you definitely saw this, but I made a prediction short for who I think the top 5 draft will be next year, or the 5 worst teams, and the Titans were not in there. I had some people ask me about that, and yeah, I said I think Cam Ward takes that next step. I like the player he is. I think he has great receiving help. I love that you mentioned Wan'Dale Robinson. I definitely think that's a very reliable wide receiver too. Obviously, you add that with Carnell Tate, hoping that he can be the player that he'll be. But yeah, I think the Titans are going to be pretty good this year. But we'll kind of piggyback. I'll piggyback kind of off of that, talking about bad teams. And again, I feel like a few of these have already been spoiled if you follow our Instagram or TikTok. But I think there's a very good chance Brock Bowers can win Offensive Player of the Year this year.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think if you look who's starting quarterback for the Raiders, either Kirk Cousins or Fernando Mendoza, you look at Kirk Cousins' career, he likes his tight ends, especially his time in Atlanta. Maybe not Kyle Pitts, but we know Jonnu Smith was getting his money while playing in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins. And I think it's also a good thing to remember that rookie quarterbacks need safety blankets, and Ashton Genty's not that great of a pass catcher. Brock Bowers is. So I think you're going to see, if Fernando Mendoza's playing, starting, I think you're going to see a lot of throws right over the middle, those checkdowns right 3 or 4 yards where the tight end just turns around. And we know how special Brock Bowers is when he's healthy, right? Great pass catcher, great runner after the catch. There's a lot of speculation that Michael Mayers will get moved this before the trade deadline. We'll see if his interest or his trade value looks like, or if they want to keep him. But I think you look at the Raiders' offense, the key pieces around it. I think Brock Bowers is the best pass catcher they have. So I think he's definitely going to take that next leap, see a Trey McBride type of season, if not better. And I think I don't think they're going to win a lot of games, but I think he's going to put up the stats and the yards. If he can get the catches and touchdowns to match it, I think he'll have a pretty good case.
There's been a lot of talks about Brock Bowers going into this year and how he still looks like one of the kind of guys of this, generation for talents, especially the tight end position. I'm looking at his odds right now for Opoi. Looks like he's maybe in 40s or 50s in terms of just names, but he's alongside Trey McBride, Travis Etienne, Kyron Williams, Joe Burrow, Javonte Williams, Garrett Wilson, Emeka Egbuka, and Breece Hall plus 8,000.
Yeah.
So, Barry, if you throw $10 in that, you win 800 if he wins it.
I might have to.
That's the most.
I don't know. To be fair, I don't know if
he'll.
I'm not pretty confident he'll win when you have a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs who's primed for a really big season, and you have those receivers that obviously can put up a ton of yards. But I definitely think he'll be in that consideration. I definitely think he'll probably finish within the top 3 if he has a good season, stays healthy, and gets the targets and makes the catches that I think he'll get.
Now, Baron, I have 2 kind of picks, I want to say, for division winners. And the first one I would say is the Buffalo Bills. To me, surefire lock. I love them to win the division. It's actually the biggest favorite to win the division at minus 125. But I look at the division. We look at things we say. There's no confidence in the Dolphins or Jets this year. There just isn't. Let's be honest.
I think they'll both be in the top 5 picking next season.
Exactly.
There's one of them's going to have the first overall.
I did say I really like the Jets draft, but that's not me winning the division. That's just talking about the future. And we talk about the New England Patriots, Baron. We talk about their schedule, how tough it is, how many games they go on the road that's a little bit tough, how they have to open up. Is Drake May getting it figured out a little bit in year 2 after that kind of very easy schedule and week in the 7th easiest schedule in Super Bowl history? And if I'm not mistaken,
easiest path to the Super Bowl.
They won that division. Was it 2 games or 1 game they won that division?
Yeah, it was
and
close.
The Bills had a pretty tough schedule as well. The Bills are minus 125 to win the AFC East. I like them to do that, and I think they actually add a little bit more firepower. Now, here's a couple teams that I look at that I'm knocking on the door, and I go, they are undervalued to win this division. And first, I want to talk about the Denver Broncos being the 3rd favorite to win the AFC West.
Wow.
To me, that is crazy. Plus 225. The Chiefs and Chargers are both at 160. I just feel as if, see?
Okay.
See? There must be something that we missed because Vegas knows something, but to me, there's something we missed here because the Denver Broncos went 15-2 last year, Baron. And if I'm really being honest, they added Jalen Waddle on this offense. Mm-hmm. They still have a good receiving core. Bo Nix is still a good quarterback. They still have a good run game. They still have probably a top 3 defense in the league. Probably the Texans and the Rams are top 2, and then
hold on, pal.
3. I'm just saying. Okay. I'm just saying. Let's say this then before we get a little controversial. For surefire, top 5 defense in the league. Okay. They have a top. I will say a top organized receiving core in the league. They have good, solid running backs on the team, and they have a pretty good offensive line there. There's not many weaknesses when it comes to this Denver Broncos team. And to me, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, and you can say Patrick Mahomes is probably gonna miss what, the first 6 weeks. I
Yeah.
would say first 6 to 8 weeks. That's a big gap right there, Baron. That's a big gap. And how much can Justin Fields do? I don't know. I don't rely on it. As well as I think the Kansas City Chiefs are not as good as the Broncos just in terms of team. Even when Mahomes comes back, I don't think they're a better team than the Broncos.
Mm-mm.
And to me, the Chargers have holes in that team as well. I think the Chargers are good, but I don't think the Chargers are for surefire great. I'm going to take the Denver Broncos to win the division.
There's a lot of thunder going on. I like that. Talking about the Chargers. And God's frowning on you. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I like that as well. I'll keep it on the topic of the Broncos. I think that's going to be the AFC team in the bowl this year. Kind of like you said, I think they also have a top 5 offense in the league. Probably top 4 if we're being completely honest.
Offense or defense?
Oh, sorry, defense. But
yeah.
I think when you look at, let's just go through them. I think you have the Rams. Yes, they probably have the best roster head to toe in the NFL. I'm not going to say they probably have the best defense, but it's definitely top 4 for sure. You have the Texans, definitely in that category, but that offense is a giant question mark. C.J. Stroud is basically playing for his career this season, so we'll see what he does when his back is in a corner. He's getting Tank Dell back. Nico Collins will still be there, bringing in what's his face from the Lions, David Montgomery, coming in to be the leading back rusher. We'll see how that pans out with that offensive line. Looks like they've invested a little bit in it this year. We'll see how much that helps, but we know that defense is good. I just don't know if that offense will be good enough to get them to where they ultimately want to go, which is the Super Bowl. And then, of course, biasly, I think the Eagles will also have a top 4 defense in the league this year. And yes, they just lost their best, or not best, but they lost a good offensive player. But I still think that offense will be pretty good. Again, this is me speaking pretty biasly, so you can let me know how you feel. But I think if you get that running game going with Saquon Barkley, you re-unlock that dual threat ability Jalen Hurts has, and Devontae Smith stepping up with the rest of that wide receiver core, Mekhi Lemon working out, that'll also be an offense to maybe take a team to where they want to go. So, but those 2 teams I mentioned, Rams and Eagles, those are in the NFC. AFC, best defense you're playing. Again, I said the Texans. Again, we don't know what that offense will look like. So I definitely think the Broncos have, like you said, they have the facilities to win their division. Let's look at the other projected division winners. We probably have the Ravens, the Bills, and I would assume the Texans. I think they could be any of those teams in the playoffs, no matter what the round is, home or away. Obviously, playing at Denver is an advantage for them, having that mile-high altitude difference. But, yeah, I really don't see why the Denver Broncos shouldn't at least be in the AFC Championship game this year.
Yeah, I think it's a very solid take.
Yeah, I guess it's not really that bold, but
no,
I would say bold that they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
I mean, I can check everything you want. With the Denver Broncos, they're actually favored in terms of everything to miss the playoffs at plus 118.
Crazy.
But to lose in the conference championship game is plus 900, and to lose in the Super Bowl is plus 1900. And to win the conference, they are all the way down as the 7th most favorite at plus 1025.
Here are the 7 teams above them.
Well, there's 6 teams above. They're at 7.
Oh, yeah, sorry. 6 teams above them.
Ravens, Bills, Patriots, Chiefs, Chargers, Texans.
Okay.
To be honest, Baron,
I'm talking about the Ravens. I think the Ravens will be scary this year.
I think they will be too. But to look at this list, Baron, the Ravens are the favorite to win the conference, actually. But to look at this list, Baron, I think the Denver Broncos are better than
every
3
single
through
team.
6.
Yeah.
I think they're better than 3 through 6 for sure. I think they're better than the Patriots. I think they're better than the Texans. I think they're better than the Chargers. And I think they're better than the Chiefs. I think you put them right up there with the Ravens and the Bills.
Yeah. I think they're better than the Bills.
To say.
I think they have the best roster in the AFC head to toe. You look at that defense. Great pass rush, good defensive line, linebacker play. It's good. You maybe like to see that get a little bit better, but I think it's serviceable. You look at their secondary; they have one of the best in the league. And yeah, flip it to the offense. You got a young, promising quarterback. You hope he can. Again, I think I don't think you would look at Bo Nix and be like he's going to be a top 5 quarterback, but he's going to do what you need him to do. You've got the weapons around him: Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, R.J. Harvey. Hoping he takes that next leap as a running back, a dual threat running back. I forget who they have in tight end, but yeah. No reason why this team led by Sean Payton should not be in the AFC Championship game.
It's a good point. Now, one more take, which is actually a very painful take. I might double up on this take, which means I really will get in trouble if this is wrong. But Baron, it actually really hurts me to say this. I'm looking at to make the playoffs, as well as at plus 185, as well as at plus 250 to win the NFC South. I think the New Orleans Saints are a very good team to make a really good run this year. I think they are. I think there's some pieces that are a little scary on it. And honestly, I kind of want to talk about their schedule, which when you look at first is a little bit of a tough schedule. But the more you kind of dig into it and really put your head into it, Baron, after the first 2 weeks, this schedule gets really easy. They open their season up at Detroit and at Baltimore. And honestly, Baron, that's probably 0-2. Just at least betting-wise, it's probably 0-2. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they won at Detroit. I wouldn't be honest. I will be honest. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think it'll be a great win, but I wouldn't be horribly surprised. Now, look at the rest of their schedule. Their next 5 games: Vegas at home, Atlanta at home, Minnesota at home, New York on the road, Pittsburgh at home. I can continue. Cleveland, or my bad, Pittsburgh is a London game. Cleveland and Carolina both at home. That is a lot of winnable games. In that 3 to about 10 stretch, I could see them going 5-2, and now they're 5-4, right? And then they play at Chicago, at Cincinnati. I think they can beat Cincinnati. I think they can beat Green Bay at home. I think they can beat both Carolina and Tampa Bay on the road. I think they can beat Arizona at home. I think they can beat Atlanta on the road. I think they can beat Tampa Bay at home. I think past the first 2 weeks, you're looking at the New Orleans Saints and you're going, these games are at least on the cards of winnable. 15 games on your schedule where are winnable. When I look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and I look at the Atlanta Falcons and I look at the Carolina Panthers, I can schedule at least 5 games where I go, it's going to be a tough road to win that game. And you can, but it's going to be a tough climb. And I look at the way the Saints have their home game scheduled and who they're playing on the road. I'm looking at maybe 2 games where I go, yeah, that's a loss. 15 games, Baron, where I could say maybe it's a 5-point swing on favorite on the or underdog on the road and favorite at home. I think the New Orleans Saints are honestly the most underrated team, especially how Shuck was throwing the ball with who they've got in the draft. Olave coming back. I mean, I think this team is very solid.
I agree. The one question mark I have is with Tyler Shuck, though. Obviously, you have a guy who most people kind of had written off coming into the season. Did not get the start. Spencer Rattler got the start over him. So, again, second-year quarterback, my big thing is, do you take that sophomore slump or do you rise with your team? Obviously, he came to the scene, had an electrifying start, but defensive coordinators have had an offseason to kind of prepare, study his game, look at what he does. So can he adjust? Can he step up? And I think he has the capabilities of doing that. History is just not on his side. So I think, like you said, I do think the Saints, there's a lot of those games that could kind of go either way, and I think that kind of comes down to quarterback play, quarterback leadership. So I think their season is heavily dependent on him. I think if you look at the Panthers, Bryce Young, I'm not going to say that he's one of the league's best, but he definitely has that experience, definitely has the ability to kind of adapt, adjust. We kind of saw that midway through last season. And you just look at the team he has around him. You got Tet McMillan coming in, second-year receiver who had a great rookie year, looking to do even better things. Pair that with Xavier Legette. I think they got someone else in the building. I forget who, but But you look at defense and how much they invested on defense in free agency. Went out, signed Jalep Phillips to a $30 million plus deal. We'll see if that was worth it. We know he has the potential to be a pretty good edge rusher, or at least pass rusher. They went out and got Devin Lloyd, the leader of that Jaguars defense. So he's definitely gonna be wearing the green dot. See what he can do. You got J.C. Horn on the outside guarding teams' best receivers. I think Jeremy Chen's not still there, but you look at that defense and it's got some credibility to it. They just won the division, like you said. Their season, or I think their schedule might look a little bit easier than the Saints, just because of. I always say I think first, or if you have a first place schedule, I think that's better than having a second place schedule, because those teams that usually finish second in their division are wild card teams, and they go out and they invest more and they kind of beef their rosters up, while you have teams that win their division, or a team like the Seahawks who went to the Super Bowl and how much they lost. I think the best way I like to explain it to people right now is, would you rather play the Seahawks this season or the Rams? Because if you won your division last year, you're going to play the Seahawks. If you came runner up, you're going to play the Rams. So that's just kind of how it works. Obviously, that's not true in every case, but I just think that's.
Would you rather play the Cowboys or rather play the Eagles?
That's true. That's fair. So, yeah. We'll just kind of see how it.
Let me continue this hot take for a second, Baron.
Yeah.
Let me just continue it. Okay. There was a really big scenario that happened in Week 18 for all amazing NFL watchers that enjoy the greatest division in football, which is the NFC South. And that is the Atlanta Falcons won Week 18, which pushed the New Orleans Saints to last in the division. It pushed the Falcons to third in the division. If you're wondering, some of those third place teams in the division, there was a couple teams in there where you go, okay, like a Kansas City late in the season is not good because Patrick Mahomes will be clicking on all cylinders. Then you have your argument about your 1 and 2, Baron, your first place and second place. Well, first place went to Carolina. Let me just tell you some of the games Carolina has to play this year, which to me are scary games. You got Chicago at home, but I think Chicago's a really good team. Detroit at home, I think it's still a little bit of a tough team. I talked about Detroit on the road as well for the Saints.
I think they just play that whole division then.
Philadelphia on the road. Green Bay on the road, Denver at home, Baltimore at home. Then you got to play, of course, the division opponents as well. You got to play, to me, I think a tough game sometimes can be Minnesota on the road, and then you have to play Seattle at home. Those are some tough games in there for Carolina. And I'm not even mentioning division games. I'm not even going to mention a Cincinnati at home or a Pittsburgh on the road. A Pittsburgh on the road, to me, is a tough game. I think any game you go into Pittsburgh.
I'm not too scared about 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers at this point. But
I'm scared
I know
about
what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
And it's also a flex game, which means it's a late year game, Baron, which means it's a very cold game, which means that's a tough game for a southern team to go north in 10-degree weather, 15-degree weather, whatever you want to talk about it. Then you go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule. They have a little bit of a tougher one. We'll talk about a couple of games. I think they open up maybe with 2 wins, with Cincinnati on the road and Cleveland at home. Even Minnesota at home. It could be 3-0, but then you got to play Green Bay, Dallas, Pittsburgh. I think that's tough. At Chicago, at Detroit, Chargers, at Baltimore, versus the Rams as well. Those are some really out-of-conference tough games, in my opinion. Those are some tough games in there, mixed in with division games as well, which I think you look at the Buccaneers. The Falcons have had the Buccaneers number actually a little bit in the last couple of years. The Saints, I think, are going to come up, and I think the Panthers are still going to be a little bit of a tough team. I'm going to stick this out, and I think Shuck is going to have a good year. I think you have Travis Achan on your team now. Travis Achan on your team. You have Jordan Tyson. You have Chris Olave. They signed Caden Ellis, who is the leading tackler from the Atlanta Falcons. You take away their best linebacker, which really hurt my heart when they joined the New Orleans Saints. I think this is a team that is putting themselves in position to make a little bit of a sneaky run and win the division and go to the playoffs.
Yeah. We'll see. We always know that division is up for is going to lead to some bullshit. So we're going to be saying all this
because you never know what's going to happen.
We're saying all this, and it's going to be the Falcons that win it, because Tua Tagovailoa is going to have that Baker Mayfield resurgence year, right?
That's what we dream of. That's what
if you're not if no one's familiar with the Falcons' current quarterback situation, they're going to be choosing between shit and ass now.
And the reason I didn't say the Falcons is, Darren.
Hey, can you duck your head real quick? No, move. Yep, there you go. So yeah.
I didn't say the Falcons, and my Falcons bed sheets are not here, but all my Falcons fatheads are surrounding. Actually, where's it off? There's off camera over there. Um, the reason I didn't say the Falcons is because I don't think we even win 6 games. I think 6 games is our cap this year. I don't think this team is good enough to do a lot. They lost pieces as well, and that quarterback situation is just a hole in itself.
Well, it's crazy. I
I'm
kind of think
not confident.
I think y'all are kind of the Minnesota Vikings of this year. I think you have all the pieces in place, not to compete for a Super Bowl. Let's calm down. But I think you have all the pieces in place to kind of win your division, except for a quarterback. I mean,
it depends.
You tell me how good your offensive line is, because I'm not too familiar with your O line. But
I would say a little better than average. I would say like 12, 13, 14.
Yeah. So you look at your receivers. You got Drake London, who you just gave a shit ton of money to.
But we have no one on receiver other than that.
Come on, you got Jahan Dotson. Don't be dissing my man now. You got Jahan Dotson at the 2, who
we lost our leading tackler.
That's fair, but hey, you got James Pierce coming back. You got Jalen Walker coming back.
Innocent, by the way.
We know Demon is free.
Wait, I gotta wait. I look for future jobs. That was a horrible mistake.
Yes,
not mistake. That was a horrible thing to do.
Yes.
I don't like what he did.
No, we don't. But he's coming back, 11.5 sacks, or 10.5 sacks, whatever. You've got AJ Terrell, you've got Avion Terrell, the 2 brothers at corner. You got Jesse Bates. Like, you have the secondary. Sure, you lost your leading tackler, but that can be replaced. I mean, I know you love Caden Ellis, but that can be replaced. I think you have the defense to compete. I think you have the offensive weapons to compete. I don't know how great your offensive line is, but if you're telling me it's serviceable, then sounds like to me all you need is a quarterback, and you're a competing team. But like I said, shit and ass, take your pick. So we'll see if one of those guys can kind of jump the offense, see what happens. But we're gonna get away from the NFC South for the last bold prediction that I have, and this kind of coincides with how well or how highly coveted this upcoming draft class is, right? But I think we see 2 winless teams this season.
No.
Yeah, and those 2 teams are the Miami Dolphins.
Nope.
And the Arizona Cardinals. Listen, I think
the Arizona Cardinals show.
I think the Dolphins will go 0-6 in the division. Yes, I said it. I think the Jets will beat them twice. And yeah, outside of that,
I can see that too.
And then outside of that, I mean, I haven't looked at their schedule, but again, I have no confidence in this team whatsoever. Again, if you're a big fan of the show and been listening for a while, you know what I've been saying about the Dolphins for a while. This is a team that has no culture of winning. It's all they care about is making money. They have probably the worst offensive or the worst receiving core in the last 10 years of the league. I mean, Tutu Atwell's about to be wide receiver 1, so. You've got Malik Willis.
They play at Vegas week 1.
Yeah, and I think Vegas is going to kill them. So, you've got a defense that is riddled with veterans and holes. You have a quarterback in Malik Willis who he looked good last year playing for Green Bay, but for the most part is not really proven to be starter caliber, at least with what you're surrounding him with too. I mean, to be honest, the only thing if you're a Dolphins fan to kind of be excited for is that at least Devon Achane is still there. And I've never really been a big fan of his either. I think you take away the scheming and all that, I don't think he's going to be that good this year. So I'm standing on this. You look at their division. I think one of the worst divisions in the league because it's so bottom heavy with the Jets and the Dolphins. And look, the Jets may win 2 games this season, and those 2 games are going to be against the Miami Dolphins because this team is abysmally bad. And let's take it to the other side of the aisle, to the Arizona Cardinals. We don't have to spend much on this.
They honestly, looking at their schedule, they actually have a better schedule than the Dolphins.
They low-key do. But I still could see a world where they don't win a game. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go into each game because we're kind of coming up on time. But, yeah, you guys can go take a look at their schedules, look at their rosters, and let me know if you think either of them will win a game. But even so, Brooks, even if it comes down to midway through the season and there's a matchup where they're playing, say, the Cleveland Browns, and the Browns are 4 wins and the Dolphins are winless, why not lose the game? Get the first overall pick. This is the holy grail of all drafts, right? You want the first overall pick. So, and we know the Dolphins are not afraid to tank either. So, that's just the culture they are. They don't care about winning, even though tanking would ideally be a move to win. But no, they just care about getting the first overall pick to sell tickets, sell jerseys. And the Cardinals are the Cardinals. They're probably in one of the hardest divisions in the league. And yeah, I don't think they win a game either. So that's my last one. 2 winless teams in this year's NFL season.
Wow. We are coming up on time. So
we'll swing it to you real quick. We got 2 more things to talk about NFL-wise. First one being media coverage. We've had some guys in the media recently talking about teams, talking about players. Brooks, this is going to be a lightning round. Take it away.
First, we have Brandon Ayuk calling the 49ers mad, dumb, and stupid on a viral Instagram live rant. Baron, any comment on that specifically about Brandon Ayuk saying that?
I'm pretty sure his NFL career is over. I don't know what kind of team is going to really want him around after just the character issues he's kind of shown this offseason. I know there's a lot of speculation that he might have CTE, so prayers up to him if that is true, and hopefully he seeks help, gets better. But yeah, I know there's a lot of speculation that the Commanders might sign him, pair him up with college teammate Jaden Daniels, but I mean, you know what? That could happen because that's a Josh Harris-owned team, and we're not going to get into teams that are owned by Josh Harris because we'll be here another hour. But I could see a world where they sign him, but no other team in their right mind should want to sign Brandon Ayuk just for the injury history. The production on the field the last time we saw him wasn't great, and just how he's kind of handled himself this whole offseason does not make any – at least if I was an NFL GM, I would not feel comfortable with him being in my locker room.
That's kind of the whole different mantra of this show, but I kind of agree with Baron. I don't know if there's going to be another team that signs him, and I was going to say prayers up to him because I think there might be something going on.
No, don't worry. Josh Harris might. Scumbag. He was in the Epstein files, by the way.
The next one is Nick Sirianni, kind of subtly, but not by name, but subtly calling out A.J. Brown at the end of his press conference media availability. I will not give my opinion on this because we have the Eagles specialist here. So, Baron, I know how you feel about A.J. Brown. If anybody knows what it is or you don't know what it is, it's not favorable right now.
I'm aware.
So, Baron, do you like Nick Sirianni coming at A.J. Brown, or do you want him to stay away from that because he's no longer on the team?
No, well, kind of yes and yes. Obviously, that's Nick Sirianni's MO. He's kind of been a player coach. He's going to hold people accountable. In fact, I've been overjoyed to see Eagles media kind of coming back around on him, being like, "Oh, I'm happy that he was kind of getting in AJ Brown's face." Like, yeah, clearly that Nick Sirianni was on the right and AJ Brown was on the wrong. So I'm glad to see his credibility within the community is kind of coming full circle. I'm still happy he's my head coach, but to address what he said, yeah, I mean, he's completely right. And if for anyone that doesn't know what he says, he basically said football's a team sport. We're an organization that wants to win. If you want to put yourself over the team, then don't come to this building. That's essentially what he said. I agree with that wholeheartedly. If I was head coach, I'd probably be preaching the exact same thing. And he's right. I mean, A.J. Brown is a player who publicly has come out and said he was trying to he was holding teammates accountable by calling them out in the media, sneak dissing them, sabotaging seasons, all of that good stuff. So he's not a team first player. He's a me first player, and he's a bitch. So good riddance. And kind of on the same side as that, there's another report that while he was in the building, he signed his portrait that said "Best Ever Do It." I hope that portrait has since been removed and burned. And yeah, we can move on from there.
Sounds good. Just you never know. Baron, if it's all 31 other NFL teams, it's pretty good. If the Eagles come up, you never know what's gonna pop out of his mouth. Now, we're a little on time. I know could be a Brooks's bomb segment.
There is, but one last NFL part.
Oh, here we go. And
international games.
I have a breaking news segment for you at the end as well.
Sounds good. International games, Brooks. How do we feel about them? The league has signed deals to kind of warrant more and more each season. I think you were telling me before the show that they just signed one for 10 next season, something like that. So how do we feel about them? What's your headspace looking like?
You know, Baron, this is going to be kind of a weird take, but part of me wants to be like, I kind of like international games because it really expands and grows the game. But I'm generally not a fan of international games for two reasons. They're going to be one of them, I think, is very valid. And one of them is I feel like it just takes away a home game. Really just takes away a home game, takes away profits from that. It really kills players with the travel, both sides of it as well, because you got to leave the country, go to a whole different time zone, ball game, that kind of jazz. And honestly, it changes prep. It changes a lot. Money. It changes fans from being able to see their team and support loud in the stadium and kind of give them a win and rile them up for a win. My second one, Baron, is going to be you look at the countries we're going international to, they don't come to us for international games for their sport. Soccer, English Premier League doesn't come to the United States to play games for their regular season. They come during the off season and play a little friendly game. You can't really do friendlies because of like the brain injuries and stuff with football. It's kind of tough to do that. But it'd be like if we took a flag football game and played at, England, Germany, France, and here's my thing. And everyone knows me as the big soccer guy. Here's my thing. Would I rather have the English Premier League, the Bundesliga, La Liga come to the United States, or would I have both stay in their country? I'd rather have both stay in their country, honestly. I feel like part of the reason that you go to those countries if you're a tourist is to go see them, and then there's the whole tourist problem. We'll talk about that, but I would rather it be you have to travel to that country to see them play rather than they come to you and it's a dead environment and it kills the players and all that kind of stuff. I understand the United States, them playing games outside of the United States in the NFL and growing the game. But personally, I like the games being played at the home stadiums and, in their venues that they should be.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that for some of it, but I kind of like the idea of you have this sport, right? And I like how you talked about soccer and how you have English leagues and stuff like that. But it kind of makes sense. I mean, we have an American soccer league. We have a few of them, if I'm being honest. We have college soccer. We have all that. American football does not really exist outside of at least the North America. Obviously, we have the Canadian Football League now, but yeah, it does not exist outside of North America. So I'm always going to be a fan of expanding, sharing, and growing the game. I just kind of with the same point of view, I don't like how it takes away home games, team revenue, stuff like that. But I think there's a way to change that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're getting to a point where there's more and more games each year, and this might not be ideal for the NFL, but I think if you kind of took it like, let's start the preseason 2 weeks early, you get a week break after the last preseason game, then week one every year, every team it plays internationally. There's going to be 16 international matchups all week one. You go a week and a half to fly out, kind of adjust, get some practices in. It'll be a big thing for the league. Obviously, times will be different, but you could also market it like, hey, there's going to be a time period from a Saturday night or like a Saturday or a Sunday morning to Sunday night. There's going to be games on all day. Like it's kind of like how we have it. It'll start at 8, go to 1, go to 4, go to the night. We'll have 16 games. Maybe some will be played on Saturday. Obviously, you can do this before college football starts or kind of compete with college football, kind of see who's a bigger fan of what. But that way, you have a set international game. Then there's 16 more games. So every team gets 8 home games, 8 away games. And then you have one international week that's already set aside, been planned. It doesn't take away from a home game or an away game specifically. And then you have like a week for teams to come back, readjust, and then we start the season. You get like a week break. It'd be kind of rough for fans, but you get like a 2 week break before the next season or for the season starts. And you kick it off with week 2. We go as scheduled, but that way you don't have like international games sprinkled throughout the season. We kind of just do them all at once. We do them at the beginning of the season. Everyone's fresh. No one's injured. No one's tired. So everyone's still maybe more accommodating to do it then. Because I just feel like teams are a lot more lenient to maybe do the travel, do that investment and time change, travel, all that, if it's at the beginning of the season. Like if you play an international game in week 14 when you're already been playing for so long and you're tired and you're banged up, you don't want to travel to Australia where it's almost an hour-long flight. Like that, no one wants to do that. So I think if you kind of address it all at once, do it at the start of the season, it'd be a little more successful if we get to that point. But that's just my idea.
All right. Well, I don't know if I'm a big fan of your idea because I like week 1 waking up Sunday knowing like there's going to be crazy home environments, road environments, telling the team it's awesome.
And I think you still get that. It's just would technically be week 2.
No.
Okay.
All right. Now, let's do Brooks's bombs.
All right. Take it away.
My segment today is going to be about the World Cup. Baron is giving me airtime for some reason to talk about soccer on this show. So I'm going to make it quick. I'm going to make it like, pardon the interruption when they have like the minute timer. We're going to do it like that. Here we're going to go. Ready? I am working the World Cup as a journalist. It's going to be fun. Now I'm going to say this. All right. USA gets eliminated in the round of 16. They win their first game past the group, but they lose that. My biggest surprise this World Cup, I am going to go with Senegal. I think Senegal is going to be a big team out of this World Cup. I'm going to make that prediction. They have a tough group. I think they get out of the tough group no matter what, 1 through 3, but their really tough backline is going to make them tough for any team to go through. And honestly, I'm going to have them going all the way to the quarterfinals. I'm going to have my winners. I'm going to pick my first ever time. If I'm not mistaken, Spain does not have a coach that is from Spain. I don't believe that's true. I thought it was Luis de la Fuente, I guess, is not from Spain. And there has not been a coach that has won outside of their own home country. And I'm going to continue that. Give me Spain to win the World Cup. I'm going to ride with FIFA's tradition. FIFA has picked the last 5 World Cup winners on the video game correctly, or 4. Make it 5. Spain wins. Give me them to win. And my big bold prediction, I'm going to say Mbappe wins Golden Boot. Bang. There's my World Cup predictions. Done. It's the day before the World Cup. Kicks off in 22 hours. There's my predictions.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Brooks. Obviously, I don't know anything about soccer, so
you gotta watch the World Cup. Look at this.
That you kick the ball.
Look at my calendar that I have for the World Cup. I put every game on the calendar. This is opening day tomorrow. I think if I swipe this way, this is Friday. You got games on Friday. Saturday has a whole big slate of games. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. Yeah, I can't wait. World Cup is amazing. I just kind of hate that it's in the USA, which is weird to say, but I hate it. Whatever.
Okay.
Breaking news.
I was about to say, there you go.
Texas Tech is going to be looking at suing teams that won't play them. There you go. Breaking news. College football. Done. Screw college football. This is why we talk about the NFL on this sport. Exactly. This is why we talk about the NFL on this show.
I was about to say, did you see their like comments too they made defending him? They said, and I quote, "It's not murder."
No.
Yeah.
No. Show that. Is there a way you can show that?
I'll pull it up here.
It's not murder?
Can you read that? I know with the light it's kind of.
Is that Bleacher Report?
Yeah, Bleacher Report.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That was what they said in defense. Says, you know what? Sure, he gambled on his own team. That's not cool, but hey, at least he didn't kill anyone, right?
Murder. It's not murder. You got him. You got him.
Yeah. Fuck Texas Tech. Sorry for the language.
That's cool. And my bold prediction is my dog of the day is going to be the Denver Broncos against Kansas City in Week 1.
Oh, we're doing that already?
No, I'm just saying that's going to be my dog of the day, 100%.
So, you looking to win this year?
That'll be another episode of Nothing Agreed. Thank you all so much for listening. Who do you have as your big, bold predictions? And ultimately, what is your opinion on Brendan Sorsby and as well international games?
Mm-hmm. And make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, as well as YouTube and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, because we have more content on those apps coming your way.
Thank you so much for listening, and peace.